4 early, now with a 1-point advantage. This team in red, Puerto Rico, you may recognize a lot of the names because 9 of the 12 members of the Puerto Rican team have played U.S. college basketball. Ortiz gets it inside and quickly off the glass, and now Puerto Rico by 1.
Well, tough matchup there. Peter Garachi trying to guard Ortiz. Ortiz has several inches and about 25 to 30 pounds on Garachi.
Steve Nash isolated one-on-one. Looking for the cutter. Nash going through the legs. Gives it inside, and then Rowan Barrett is off again.
Nice job by Greg Newton. He's been a real strong competitor on the glass. In the top 5 in the World Championships last summer in rebound.
Canada again regains the lead, 15-14. 2 20-minute halves in international basketball. Ortiz is stopped that time because he missed the shot. Nash pushing.
Difficult shot again for Ortiz. That time Canada doing a nice job of forcing him to be off balance on that baby hook, but he's a good passer and you have to be conscious of the 3-point shooters. Puerto Rico, very, very good shooting team.
Knocked away by Puerto Rico, so Canada's ball. Let's talk about some of the rule differentials between FIBA basketball and the NBA.
Well, you can see the difference in the length of the game, also timeout situation, 5 versus 7 to the NBA, the width of the lane, and the big difference is at the bottom of the lane. It's about 3 feet wider at the bottom, and you look at that 3-point shot, it's basically a big step backwards from the NBA, I should say the NBA line is a good step back of the international line.
Number 9 for Puerto Rico is James Carter, born in New York, played professional ball in Puerto Rico, and now plays with the national team. Carter inside, knocked away. There's Ortiz, can go straight up. Newton is there and a foul, and Ortiz will go to the line.
Ortiz, so much experience, 35 years old, has been an all-star in Spain, Greece, and you can see what he does. Great position on the glass. Look at that ball fake. Get the defender up in the air, getting Newton to leave his feet, drawing the contact, and normally he's a very strong finisher. And when you look at his numbers in the tournament, I mentioned 16 points a game, 3rd leading scorer in the tournament, number 5 in the boards at 7.5 boards a game, and cracked the top 10 in assists as well, Rod.
A couple of Olympic Games, a couple of World Championships, drafted by the Utah Jazz. Puerto Rico has a player who did play in the NBA with the LA Clippers in Orlando Vega, another player born in New York, number 11, so you can watch him. Ortiz trying to find the range from the free throw line. There's a look at all of the players who have been around the NCAA. Ortiz making the 2nd free throw. Is Canada pushing quickly again. And right there is number 12, Todd McCullough, the Winnipeg native, recently drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers, missing the chippy.
Yeah, Todd McCullough has been playing very well in this tournament. Saw it go after the offensive rebound there. He leads the Canadian team in offensive rebounds and one of the top rebounders in the tournament.
Puerto Rico basically has 2 big men. There's one, Daniel Santiago, only 23 years old, a 7-footer. Plays in the NAIA in the United States, and Ortiz, who's at 6'10", almost 6'11".
Yeah, Santiago obviously not as polished as Ortiz, but a big physical player that likes to use his body to bang everybody around.
Newton getting the pass back from Nash. McCullough inside, still can't find it, in close.
Well, Todd McCullough is going to make most of those. He led the NCAA in field goal percentage the last 2 years, shooting right around 66% from the field.
James Carter's percentage goes down as he misses. Nash behind the back, showing why he is one of the best young point guards in the NBA. Greg Newton in the low blocks. Gives it back off to Nash, setting for the 3. This time he got it.
Excellent job by Newton, and Nash moving without the basketball, hitting that shot. Right now, both teams seem a little bit tight early in the game. Canada and Puerto Rico both shoot right around 49–50% in this tournament.
A whistle and a foul. There is Todd McCullough. Jay Triano signaling a play, a defensive switch, and I don't think it happened for him. There's McCullough getting the foul.
Getting a little grab from behind on Santiago. Excellent position using his body down low by Santiago. Well, you talk about Jay Triano and the job he's done with this team, Rod, just tremendous. And there's another outstanding play by Steve Nash. He sees the whole court, Sherman Hamilton getting out and running. And I mentioned he's having a great tournament, shooting the ball well and really doing with everything that Jay Triano has asked him to do.
Huge day for the national team. They lead by 5 and will step aside.
There's 2 things you ought to know. 1, grains are good for you. And 2, Kellogg's original cereals start straight from the grain. Kellogg's Originals, the straight goods.
Welcome to Camp Flight 101. To master hang time, you gotta make the air your friend, all right? Yeah. Let's go, keep up, what you waiting on?
Jump out there and shake hands with the alley-oop. Let's go, let's go. Blood of that basket.
He's worried about the landing. Gotta worry about the shot.
Jump up, let out. Don't tell me I gotta bring the shot clock out now, come on.
Ooh, flagrant foul on H2O.
Come on, man. I wanna see more alley. Let's oops.
Gatorade Fierce in lime and melon. So bold, it's fierce.
Why they call it the cage, baby?
Canada did win a silver medal at the Olympics back in 1936, but since that time we have been shut out at the Olympic Games. In fact, we haven't been to the Olympics since 1988 in Seoul. Best finish since that 36 silver medal, a couple of 4th place finishes in 76 and 84. Jay Triano, a member of the 84 and 88 teams. And right now, Jay Triano's Canadians leading 20-15 against the host team in Puerto Rico.
Rod, there's another team Jay Triano was a part of, and that's the 1980 Olympic team, which boycotted the Olympics. And that tournament was also held in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Jay was a key player in that team. And when I talked to him last night, he said there's a lot of memories and a lot of similarities between that team and this team, and a big part of that is the togetherness of that team. And if there's one thing that Jay picked up along his years as a player, he was playing for Jack Donahue. Jack Donahue didn't always take the best players available. He took the players that worked best together, and that's something that Jay has done with this team as well.
Well, we're at the women beckon of the host feed, so they're going to break, and so will we. We'll be back.
I believe I've become quite valuable to the company, sir. And this may not be the right time, but I think I deserve a raise. I'll wait here.
Need a new t-shirt? Find one of 4 free, especially marked 2.4s of Coors Light. Must be legal drinking age. Call for no purchase request.
Every single Optimum used vehicle is backed by General Motors. But used vehicles sold by some stranger on the corner don't come with any guarantees, which may just leave you with more than you bargained for. When you buy Optimum, you can rest easy knowing you've got GM riding with you. Optimum used vehicles, available only at select GM dealers.
Where's Fulton? Up against the wall.
2 complete strangers. 1 harmless glance. 1 jealous boyfriend.
Excuse me.
2-to-1 odds. 1 unexpected backup equals 1 game over. For all you do, this bud's for you.
A battle of couple of number 15s, Greg Newton and Daniel Santiago, resulting in a foul by Greg Newton.
Here's a former star, Raymond Dalmau of Puerto Rico, tough defensive player, also coached the team for a brief period of time.
Puerto Ricans with a strong basketball program over the years. they too, like Canada, want to return to the Olympiad. Todd McCullough operating against Ortiz in the low blocks. Steve Nash gets it.
One problem, Steve Nash is obviously going to have to play heavy minutes in this game. Played 40 in the last game against Puerto Rico.
Here come the Puerto Ricans again. Number 7, Carmelo Travieso, used to play with UMass. Inside, Ortiz having his way right now with the inside man of the Canadian national team.
And you can see how strong Ortiz is, Rod. He gets that ball inside. He loves the baby hook. He can do it with either hand, but he puts that shoulder right into the defender, clears himself some room, and goes up strong.
Culla, Karachi, Sherman Hamilton. 5th year on the national team, plays pro ball in Finland. Takes the 3. Perhaps ill-advised. Everybody was moving around, but he couldn't find anybody open, and once again pushing Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the last couple shots Canada has taken, Rod, they've stayed on the same side of the court. Remember, one of the keys to the game is reversing the ball, getting it from side to side, but as long as they can defend, they can take some chances. You just don't want to get Puerto Rico going early on.
Jordy McTavish, native of Salmon Arm, BC, into the game, number 4. In the backcourt with the native of Victoria, BC, and Steve Nash.
And Canada's missing a lot of shots that they normally do make. As I mentioned, shooting about 50% from the field and 40% from 3 in this tournament. But you can bet there's a little early game jitters with the importance of this game.
Rome Mincy. Back inside, always looking for Ortiz, seemingly. The Puerto Ricans almost on every play.
Well, they take advantage of their strengths. This Puerto Rican team likes to shoot the ball, but they also understand you're going to get a lot more shots if you can establish your inside game, and that's why Jay Triano was so concerned about Ortiz, and he felt that one of the keys was they had to get to him early, bump him, make him work very hard to establish that low post position.
Steve Nash and Canada trying to earn an Olympic berth. Tavish. Nash inside, gave it away. Once again, Puerto Rico. And almost a hip check.
That's a foul you want to try to avoid. McTavish coming from behind and making some contact on the play. Once you see you don't have an opportunity to make the play, let the man go. And if you are going to foul, you definitely want to make sure there's no scoring on the play. And again, the Puerto Rican crowd gets involved. Back in 1980, when we had to play against Puerto Rico in San Juan, Rod, the game really did get violent. The fight broke out in the middle of the game, and the crowd really became a factor, as did the officiating.
This is number 8, Sean Swords, who cut down Eddie Casiano. So Casiano still on the floor, and he is one of the players who has a great weapon for Coach Julio Toro. And that's his ability to shoot the 3.
Yeah, Casiano's a tremendous scorer, one of the top scorers in the Puerto Rican Pro League, which operates in the summertime. Really gets out and runs the court and can hit that 3-point shot with ease. And there you see, actually looked like McTavish slipped on the play, and that's why he went underneath.
Also into the game with Sean Swords is Keith Vassell, number 10. So Jay Triano's going to his bench in this first half as Casiano looks like he's going to the locker room. So just to reset for Canada, Nash, McCullough, Sean Swords, Keith Vassell, and at the line, Orlando Vega.
Orlando Vega shooting for Casiano. And you talk about one scorer replacing another. Casiano, as I mentioned, one of the top scorers in the Puerto Rican League. The other top scorer is Orlando Vega. He can really fire the ball up. And when I say he doesn't have a conscience, Rod, he has never met a shot he wouldn't mind taking.
Vassell, Swords. Great defense from Puerto Rico right now. McCullough had the 15-footer, decided to go inside. Nash takes the 3, got it.
Well, excellent job there by the Canadian team. McCullough wasn't sure if he should take that shot. Kicked it inside, it got kicked back out. Steve Nash really has had the hot hand early for Canada.
That 3 is separating these two teams, and a foul and a whistle.
Looks like an elbow was thrown. Karachi doing a nice job getting back defensively, kind of holding on to his chin. Took a good shot from Jerome Mincy.
There is Jerome Mincy, 6'7", 34-year-old. There is the other JT of coaching in today's game, Julio Toro. Second stint with the Puerto Rican team. He replaced Carlos Morales after Puerto Rico lost to Cuba in a recent tournament. So they've undergone a coaching change, just like Team Canada.
Actually, he coached against Canada in '92 when he was coaching Venezuela, and they eliminated Canada from the Olympic tournament.
Once again, Puerto Rico gets the rebound. Ball's out to Travieso. Got it! And that's a three-pointer for Carmelo Travieso.
You really have to get up on Travieso. He was 4 of 7 from behind the arc in the first meeting with Canada, shooting 46% in the tournament from 3.
McCullough looks to go up and down. A travel. Todd McCullough struggling early in this game.
Well, that's really not Todd McCullough's game when he has to create his own shots. He feeds off of garbage buckets, picking up offensive rebounds, moving off screens, getting the ball off a kickoff from a penetration, and he can make that shot. But when he has to create his own shot, he struggles.
Tight one in San Juan, 23 apiece.
As a force player, the only way you get better is to play against defenders that are bigger, stronger, and meaner than you. There you go. Come on. You have to take the paint. Nobody owns the paint.
And don't bring your C game to Camp Force. Bring your A game.
Man, you're going to get rejected by someone who don't even have hands. Tractor, come show them how it's done.
Go, Tractor. Show them how it's done now.
Uh-oh. Richie, we got a triple scooper here.
Olympic qualifying basketball, brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. Here's where we get Canadian.
Back in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Roberto Clemente Coliseum, Canada and Puerto Rico tied at 23 in the first half. 2 20-minute halves to decide the other finalist for the gold medal tomorrow. You can give it to the United States. The Dream Team will win it. But what's most important here is a trip to next year's Olympic Games in Sydney. Puerto Rico taking it to the basket again, and now Puerto Rico has the lead by 2. That was Orlando Vega and Michael Meeks. Perhaps a contact lens problem. As a matter of fact, it is right there.
Good penetration that time by Vega. Very important for the Canadian team to stay down, try to take the middle away, force the baseline so you can get some help.
Quickly pops the lens back in the eye. Michael Meeks, played at Canisius, native of Brampton, Ontario.
Had the nickname of Michael the Gentleman Meeks. He played at Canisius, had an outstanding senior year, played the World Championship team last summer for Canada, and has really come into his own in this tournament.
There's a shot that goes and one. Rowan Barrett got some minutes on the bench, took a bit of a rest, comes inside, takes an off-balance shot, and also draws the foul.
Well, Rowan Barrett took a couple of quick shots early, and that's good basketball right there. Jay Trano took him out of the game, saying, hey, just calm down, relax. And Rowan Barrett is quite a story. He played his college career at St. John's, and when he got to St. John's, Rodney really didn't have a jump shot, and he had to improve his shot to earn minutes, got better every single year. And if you talk to Steve Nash and some of the players in the Canadian team, they'll tell you they think he's the best all-round player on this team.
26-25 Canada. Three-pointer from way outside doesn't go. And once again, the Canadians can build the lead. There is Jordy McTavish from Salmon Arm, BC. He is number 4 for the Canadians to Meeks.
And we saw Puerto Rico take quick three-point shots. A third of their shots come from behind the arc. They don't hesitate to take it. If you get to the glass, you're going to have opportunities to score.
McCullough still struggling with the basketball. Here comes Puerto Rico again. They call for the three. Way off. Ortiz swatted it right to Rowan Barrett, and a foul.
Excellent box out there by the Canadian team.
That is Orlando Santiago getting the foul.
Yeah, Ortiz had no way to get that rebound. He was sandwiched between a couple of white jerseys, and that's what you have to do. You have to understand it. Again, Puerto Rico will take a lot of quick shots, and if you block out and you get the rebounds and adjust accordingly, long shots, long rebounds, you're going to have opportunities to get out in transition.
Michael Meeks still struggling with that contact lens, perhaps needing some solution or some assistance. Referee's willing to cut him some slack, give him some time to get it back in.
And it's not bad when things like that happen. You'll find in international basketball, because timeouts have to be called by the coach in dead ball situations. A lot of times, and not particularly in this situation, there we get a look at that drive by Vega one more time. But veteran players realize that a little faked injury or a little contact lens situation can give your team a little bit of time to settle down and regroup.
There was a push from behind. Michael Meeks picking up the foul.
Yeah, nice job there by Jerome Mincy blocking out Meeks, and you have the tendency to keep when your hands are down, the tendency is to push. You got to keep your hands up, do the pushing with your lower body, with your legs, so you can avoid that foul.
And there is number 10, Edgar Padilla. He was instrumental in the victory over Canada in the round robin, then sprained his ankle late in the game, did not play against the United States. Julio Toro gave him a rest. Inside, off the glass, his teammate at UMass, Carmelo Travieso.
Well, Travieso, he's such a threat to shoot the three that you have to get up on him, and that allows him to get that first step going. And good decision by Travieso to put it on the floor and get to the bucket.
A couple of former Minutemen who played alongside Marcus Camby.
That's right, played for John Calipari at UMass, and what a backcourt. These two guys had a tremendous college career at UMass. They played so well together. They always knew what the other one was doing.
Jose Ortiz now sporting a bit of a bandage on the nose. And Sherman Hamilton inbounding inside, and once again rejected. Garachi got the ball back, but McCullough is having a very difficult time against Ortiz.
You got to use a little bit more with the ball fakes. McCullough's not the quickest player out there, so you want to get the defender up in the air, trying to draw the foul. Actually, McCullough's gotten to the line more than any other player on this Canadian team.
The 21-year-old McTavish missing the shot. Puerto Rico trying to take control. Long three-pointer misses. Right back out to the Puerto Ricans. McTavish wide open to Hamilton. Missed it, but he got the foul.
Nice job by McTavish to get the ball out, but it looked like Sherman Hamilton slowed down a little bit, Rod, to make sure he could dunk the ball. Take it to the basket, forget about the dunk, get the 2 points, and possibly the three-point play opportunity.
Edgar Padilla with the foul. Edgar Padilla and Carmelo Travieso were born on the same day in 1975, a mile away from each other in Puerto Rico. And their careers have paralleled. Now they want to go to the Olympics together as part of this national team.
It's amazing listening to the feedback from the Canadian team. Steve Nash, despite losing to Puerto Rico the other day, said he really felt good about this game. He said, hey, we're going to be a very difficult team to beat twice. I don't think you can beat us twice, but I just feel something special that is going to happen in this game.
Nash getting some minutes on the bench right now for Jay Triano with Jordy McTavish. There he is, the 21-year-old from Salmon Arm, BC. Transferred to Idaho State after spending 1996 at the University of Utah. And Triano making some more substitutions. Todd McCullough going to the bench.
And Jay Triano, you can't say enough about the job he's done. One of the things I have to say about Jay, from being a former teammate, Rod, one of the smartest and most intelligent players I've ever played with. Always moved well without the ball, knew where everybody was on the court, went to the right place at the right time, and was a real leader. He was the captain of the team, and he's taken that and brought that to his strengths as a coach. Good feel for the game, and one of the things he's been able to do is motivate the Canadian team. They've been a tremendous defensive team, and their togetherness has been unbelievable.
Padilla missing one of the free throws. So far, a few free throws have gone astray for both sides. This game very tight in the first half. 1-point game with 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Inside goes Barrett. Will it drop? Yes, it does.
Tough shot there. Rowan Barrett getting that ball up high in the glass. Almost looked like it slipped out of his hand, but he got it up there softly and kept it to the board.
Canada by 1. Looks like they're going to go back and forth, maybe to the final minute of this game. You can also see some nerves.
Oh yeah, you're definitely going to see nerves on both sides. We see the defensive effort there by Rowan Barrett really getting up, denying, made the bucket at one end, came down, denied Vega, and the pass was thrown out of bounds.
Jordy McTavish sits down. And that means Steve Nash is the floor general again. Barrett, who Nash says maybe the best athlete on the team, showing why.
Excellent job. You see, he lured the defender with little ball fake, never straightened up on the fake. That way he was able to accelerate as soon as his defense committed, and with that athleticism and first step, able to get to the bucket quickly. Offensive foul on Santiago. And there's despite the lack of height, Guaracci able to battle inside, use his body, and draw the foul.
Peter Guaracci, kind of like Jay Triano, native of Niagara Falls, who went to play at Simon Fraser University.
Well, the Canadian team had a big man camp about 3 or 4 years ago, Rod. And a lot of the top big players in Canada came out to the camp. I had an opportunity to work with some of the players, and I thought Peter Guaracci at the time was the best player in the camp. And again, he gives up size and weight, but he has so much heart. It's infectious as well. It makes everybody around him play that much harder.
Travieso wanted the shot. Gave it back to Padilla.
Santiago's really using his elbows against Newton. Newton getting the call, and he can't believe it. All he's trying to do is body up, trying to pressure, force Santiago away from the basket. And he looked like he took a shot in the neck, but didn't get the call.
3-point Canada lead. You're watching the Tournament of Americas on CTV Sportsnet.
Lime and melon. So bold, it's fierce. Why they call it the cage, baby?
In specially marked 2.4s of Molson Canadian, you'll find 1 of 6 collectible Edgefest CD samplers. Plus, you could win this Edgefest tour bus. Thanks. Celebrating Edgefest. Here's where we get Canadian.
Must be 19, no purchase required.
Hi, here in beautiful downtown Miami to find out what people think about new Perk Plus. I'm gonna wash your hair right now if you'd like.
No!
Oh, come on, no.
Yeah, you're gonna shampoo my hair right here.
Ironically enough, yeah! Well, you see, Perk Plus has been reformulated, and it has water-based conditioning. Perk Plus leaves no heavy buildup, so you'll feel your hair is clean.
Feels great. Feels great. Feels great. It's light. It's so soft. It's wonderful.
New Perk Plus with clean conditioning. If we can wash your hair, we can change your mind. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Coming up later today, Sports Central with Jeff Hutchison. Also during halftime, Hutchie will give us the latest on the world of sports. That's Sports Central here on CTV Sportsnet. Happy to bring you the Tournament of Americas from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Rod Black and Leo Routens in our studio here in Toronto. Canada started slowly, but has opened up a 3-point lead.
Yeah, nice job by Rowan Barrett getting to the bucket. How about that block by Jose Ortiz and Todd McCullough? There's another example of getting to the bucket when everybody's worried about your shooting ability. Carmelo Travieso getting the ball on the floor, getting to the basket.
There's Daniel Santiago. Before we left for break, he was fouled by Greg Newton. Looks like the 215s will have a tug of war today. Todd McCullough is off the bench again for Jay Triano. And Canada trying to extend this lead. Rowan Barrett stops, can't make it go. Santiago pulls it down, a whistle and a foul.
Looked like that foul maybe on Peter Garaci. A little too aggressive. Santiago doing an excellent job of getting up high above the rim to get that rebound.
Julio Toro, coach of the Puerto Rican team. And indeed, both Garaci and Keith Bassel, number 10, battling underneath. Santiago, the whistle, and he will shoot again.
Mentioned Keith Bassel when he comes into the game off the bench for the Canadian team, Rod. He's looking to shoot the ball. He's done an excellent job shooting threes. He's a scorer off the bench who's brought in to give some energy, and he wants the ball right now. He's wide open. Steve Nash not looking his way.
Nash. That one off the rim. Garaci lost it. Still tipping it. Garaci, great play. McCullough. And a foul.
See, that's what Peter Garaci gives you right there. Tremendous hustle, going after that loose ball, saving it right to Todd McCullough. And that's how I'm using a little bit of a fake, drawing the foul.
And there is Eddie Casiano back from the locker room, obviously taking some stitches to the chin after his early collision with Sean Swartz when he went to the floor. And so McCullough, drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers. Some people thought he would go in the first round out of the University of Washington. One of the benefits of being here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, McCullough has been around his future coach, Larry Brown, who coaches Team USA.
That's right. Todd McCullough picked at number 47 in the draft. And I talked to Jay Triano, and he said that his confidence was really down at the start of this tournament and in training camp. And he thought the draft pick had a lot to do with that. But as the tournament's gone along, his confidence has really picked up, and he's been a huge factor in the Canadian team's success.
So far, not so good in this game, but a great steal. Good defense by McCullough.
Yeah, excellent positioning and getting that arm up on the three-quarter front.
There's Vassell. Swoops to the hoop, but couldn't make it go. Wanted the foul.
Well, you can see Vassel's not shy either, Rod. He'll come in the game, and he knows what his job is to score. Former CIAU Player of the Year at Brandon.
Has played the last couple of years, and it's a unique story. He's played professional basketball, Vassell has, as McCullough gets a hand on him, but Keith Vassell has played
He's
the last
thawing
couple
out
of
right
years.
now.
He's thawing out. He has played professional basketball in Iceland.
Exactly. This has got to be one of the best experiences for him, just to warm up and play some basketball in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Santiago goes to the bench, and Jay Triano knows that means that Jose Ortiz returns. And the less he sees of Jose Ortiz, probably the better his demeanor. There's Jerome Mitzi. And McCullough hasn't gotten off the schneid yet.
Yeah, surprisingly, Todd McCullough just shooting 61% from the free throw line, whereas he's shooting 63% from the field.
It is not going anywhere near the basket for Todd McCullough. And he made half of the baskets that he's had an opportunity at. Canada would have a much bigger lead than 2 right now, with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, one of the things that I think Jay Triano has to be happy about to this point, along with having the lead, the crowd has been relatively quiet in this game. And really, this is one of the more hostile crowds that you will encounter in international competition when they get going.
Corner ball, 3-ball in and out.
And
a lot of misses.
Those are shots the Canadian team normally makes, Rod. They struggled with their shooting in the loss to Puerto Rico, and Jay Triano felt that they made their shots, they would have beaten Puerto Rico fairly easily. And again, in the first half here, they just haven't been able to make them.
Puerto Rican slowing it down, and a whistle and a foul on the shot.
Yeah, you don't want to foul somebody shooting from the perimeter in that situation. Peter Garaci picking up the foul. You can see him shaking his head. He realized he made a mistake. You do not want to foul jump shooters.
Jerome Mitzi, the shooter, from a long way out. Garaci in some foul trouble in this first half. Here's a look. setting up for a three-pointer. Do not foul the three-point shooter.
Exactly. Exactly. Do not foul the three-point shooter. Exactly. Peter Gracci catching Mincy right on the wrist on the release. And you talk about a guy that's been around for a long, long time. Jerome Mincy, 34 years old. Rod, tell you how long he's been around. I played against this guy. Jay Triano plays against this guy.
He's been around a long time. Well, that's the difference between Puerto Rico and Canada is the ages. There are four players in the 30s in Puerto Rico. And on the Canadian side, it's all in the 20s.
Average age of the Canadian team, 24 years of age. Not only is it a young team in terms of age, but it's a young team in terms of the experience of international basketball. But again, they've made up for so much with their intensity on defense and their togetherness.
So Mincy trying to make Canada pay for that three-point foul. A minute and a half left. Puerto Rico now by 1. Nash. There's Meeks. Had an 18-footer, decided against it. Rowan Barrett cleared out for him. McCullough comes across. Nash inside. Meeks couldn't get it. Knocked out of bounds. Still Canada ball, and the shot clock is winding down.
That's a good pass by Steve Nash down to Meeks. Meeks has to make sure he catches it, goes up strong with the basketball. There are not going to be a lot of easy shots around the basket.
McCullough. Crowd wanted a traveling call. Meeks buries a three-pointer.
Only shooting 33% from three. That time showing a lot of confidence. Earlier passed up that free throw jumper, came right back and nailed the three.
Very physical ball game so far at both ends of the court. Inside and a whistle.
Michael Meeks stepping up, Rod, doing an excellent job. He read the play, saw the penetration coming, established his position well away from the bucket, and was able to draw the charge.
So Michael Meeks does it with the shooting hand and then drawing the foul. Under a minute to go in the first half. Canada 34, Puerto Rico 32. Nash to the basket, misses the layup. McCullough still hasn't scored in the first half. And he's had a lot of opportunities in close.
Yeah, just rushing that shot right there. Great job of getting to the glass, and unfortunately a turnover by Puerto Rico. But Todd McCullough's been there, Rod. He's been in the right places. He's had his hands on the basketball, but when he's got the ball, he's rushed his shots, and as a result, he's either missed or had them blocked.
You saw James Carter there, number 9. Most valuable player in the Puerto Rican Professional League. And they have a very impressive professional league in Puerto Rico. Nash.
Nice thing about their Puerto Rican league, Rod, is they play in the summertime, which allows players to play elsewhere in the wintertime.
Steve Nash drops it with 8 seconds to go and a whistle.
Excellent job by Steve Nash getting into the lane and finishing in traffic.
Steve Nash helping Canada secure a 4-point lead. Maybe one more when we come back. Timeout on the floor in San Juan.
Son, one day, this could all be yours. But till then, I still get to drive it.
Chevy Silverado. It has a more powerful V8 than any top-selling Ford or Dodge pickup. It even has a bigger extended cab than Ford F-150 and Dodge Ram.
So you'd really give me the Silverado?
Well, you'd have to fight your sister for it.
The new Chevy Silverado. It's the truck, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
I believe I've become quite valuable to the company, sir. This may not be the right time, but I think I deserve a raise. I'll wait here.
Need a new t-shirt? Find one of 4 free, specially marked 2-4s of Coors Light. Must be legal drinking age. Call for no purchase request.
Welcome to Count Flight 101. It's master hang time. You gotta make the air your friend. All right? Yeah. Let's go, people. What you waiting on?
Jump out there and shake hands with the alley-oop. Let's go, let's go. Run to that basket.
He's worried about the landing. You gotta worry about the shot. Jump up, let out.
Don't tell me I gotta bring the shot clock out now. Come on.
Ooh, flagrant foul on him. He's too old.
Come on, man. I want to see more alley. Let's oops.
Assist leaders at this Tournament of America. Steve Nash of Canada, second to Jason Kidd, a former teammate with the Phoenix Suns. Canada 36, Puerto Rico 32, waning moments of the first half. Both teams showing some physical contact, some physical play. Also, they've had some trouble with their shooting touches. And with the last shot, Canada makes it go. As the host feed was away at commercial and away at a replay, Canada scores again. And there it is, 38-32 for Team Canada. So Jay Triano and his Canadian national team are 20 minutes away from a spot at next year's Summer Olympics.
A tremendous first half for the Canadian team to be able to hold Puerto Rico down. And just think about it, if they shot a better percentage, this could be a 10-point lead at least.
Sports Central will have an update and more from Puerto Rico in a few moments.
In specially marked 2.4s of Molson Canadian, you'll find one of 6 collectible EdgeFest CD samplers. Plus, you could win this EdgeFest tour bus. Thanks. Celebrating EdgeFest. Here's where we get Canadian.
Must be 19, no purchase required.
Hard to believe, but our used vehicles have manufacturer's warranties. They undergo a 150-plus point inspection. They come with 24-hour roadside assistance and a 30-day, 2,500-kilometer exchange privilege. Better yet, every single one is backed by General Motors. Introducing Optimum used vehicles. When you buy Optimum, you can rest easy knowing you've got GM riding with you. Optimum used vehicles. Available only at select GM dealers.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Hutchison. Welcome to a Sports Central update. Canada leading 38-32 over Puerto Rico with a berth in the Olympics on the line if Canada can win this game, so stay right where you are for second half action. Well, we start this update with some tragic news that has claimed the life of a Philadelphia Flyer defenseman, the result of a freak accident during a boat ride. Philadelphia defenseman Dmitry Tertishny has been killed in a boating accident in Kelowna, BC. The 22-year-old Tertishny, who played 62 games for the Flyers in his rookie season, fell from a powerboat on the Kelowna waterfront. The propeller caught him in the throat. The Russian-born Tertishny lost his balance when the boat hit a wave. He had 2 goals and 11 assists in his rookie season in Philadelphia. RCMP in Kelowna said they don't think charges will be laid in the incident. Tertishny was part of a group in Kelowna for a power skating clinic. The 22-year-old is survived by his wife, who was in Russia. Well, the LPGA Tour stop is in Warren, Ohio this week. 54-hole event, and once again, Canada's Laurie Kane was in the thick of things after round 1. Kane fired an opening round 67 to begin play today in a, get this, 8-way tie for second, 1 shot back of Jackie Gallagher-Smith and Marta Figueres-Dottie. The Giant Eagle Classic at Avalon Lakes. Kari Webb hoping to make a move today on 12. Webb makes her 4th straight birdie. Bingo, 5 under par. Par 4, 17th, Canada's Gail Graham. Great second shot, and Gail Graham on the move today as well. She'd make the birdie as a result of this and move to -5. On the 12th, Angie Ridgway. This birdie attempt will give her the lead at 8 under par. Jackie Gallagher-Smith, here's her approach. Watch this. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. Oh, just inches from the cup here. This also sets up a birdie, and Jackie Gallagher-Smith at this point, too, would be tied for the lead at 8 under par. Beautiful shot. Here we go. The ladies in Warren, Ohio, the Giant Eagle Classic, 3rd round coverage tomorrow here on CTV Sportsnet starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Canadian Masters going on in Ancaster, Ontario. That's near Hamilton. Ray Stewart, the Canadian veteran, has the lead. He's 13 under par through 13 holes today. Bob Conrad, who held the lead, one of the 3 who held the lead yesterday, 2 shots back through 12, and there are 4 tied at 10 under par. And the John Deere Classic, this is the PGA stop. Brian Henniger -17 through 17 today. J.L. Lewis and Robert Damron in at -14, but it looks like Henniger will hold the lead after the third round heading into the fourth round tomorrow. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays will be looking to make it 8 straight wins tonight in Chicago. 8 in a row, that is, and that would tie their season high, which they set back in April. The Jays now 9 games above the 500 mark. Toronto heads into play today, a game up on Boston in the American League wildcard battle. And could this be happening? Just 6 back of the Yankees, who lead the American League East Division. Jays send Carpenter to the mound tonight when they play Chicago. They were 2-1 winners yesterday, and look at that record for the Blue Jays, 54-45. Just a month ago, they were struggling 9 games back of Boston. Now they're a game ahead. And Boston and Detroit, the Red Sox leading Detroit 4-1. This is in the top of the third inning. Otis Nixon, the 3-run homer to erase a 1-0 Detroit lead. If Boston wins this, the Jays would need a win tonight to stay a game up in that American League wild card race. And here it is. Boston just 1 back. Oakland 3.5 game back. Don't count the A's out, although they have traded Kenny Rogers to the New York Mets. Not sure what a move like that means in the thick of a wild card playoff race. Well, one of the last remaining players from the Florida Marlins World Series team in 1997 has been traded. Pitcher Livan Hernandez has been shipped to San Francisco for a couple of pitching prospects. The 24-year-old Hernandez was the World Series MVP in '97, but has struggled since then. 5-9 this season with a 4.76 earned run average. A year ago, 10-12, a 4.72 ERA. And you know something? Only 3 players now remain from the Marlins World Series championship team just 2 years ago. Well, those New York Mets are taking a run at the Atlanta Braves in the National League East, heading into their game with Chicago at Shea this afternoon. The Mets, riding a 3-game winning streak, found themselves just a game and a half back of Atlanta. In that NL East division, the Cubs were at the Mets. Ray Ordonez, the Mets trying to keep cool. Cubs in town, top of the third. Octavio Dodo pitching. Sammy Sosa, home run number 36. 1-0 for the Cubs. Bottom of the 5th, it's still 1-0 Cubs, but Eduardo Alfonso, home run number 14 off Steve Traxel. This ties the game at 1-1. Sosa up again in the 6th inning. Could Lightning strike twice? Same game, Sammy Sosa, could it strike twice? Strikeout. Then Benito Santiago, strikeout. Traxel unravels. He gives up a home run to Robin Ventura here coming up. The New York Mets then lead this game 2-1. Homer coming in the 6th inning. 2-1. Mets took the lead in the 6th. Here we go. 2-1, it's the final out. The homer by Ventura is the difference. The Mets now just a game back of Atlanta in the National League East Division. Those Braves playing tonight. And just to remind you, Canada leads at 38-32 at the half. An Olympic berth on the line. If Canada can hold this lead over Puerto Rico, stand by. Much more basketball coming your way. We'll return to Rod and Leo right after this.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned and have indulged 3 times.
How long since your last confession?
Forced turnovers, they've rebounded, and they've made up for the fact that they haven't made their shots. If their shots start dropping, they're going to be in a great situation. But keep in mind, Puerto Rico only has 32 points, and Jay Tirano said he wants to keep the game in the 60s and 70s.
One of the things you also have to like for the Canadian national team is the fact that this team has pretty much silenced the Puerto Rican crowd.
And that's a big factor. When you're playing in San Juan, Puerto Rico, it gets crazy out there. All it takes is a couple of three-pointers, a slam dunk, and they are on top of you. For the Canadian team to take them out of the game early is a real big boost. Now they just have to maintain that, and they have to do it with defense.
Let's go back a couple of days, though. When they played Puerto Rico in the preliminary round, they did have the lead late in the game and then lost it.
Well, the unfortunate part about that, when they lost the lead, some players stepped up. Ortiz hit a three-point shot, which he doesn't normally do. Edgar Padilla is only 1 for 6 from three-point land. That one is against Canada. So there were a few unorthodox plays or unusual plays that happened towards the end of that game, and that let us slip away from Canada. But they can beat Puerto Rico if they maintain their concentration and hit a few shots.
A couple of interesting numbers. Roland Barrett leads the national team for Canada with 11 points. Todd McCullough No points, but 6 rebounds.
Well, Todd McCullough's been doing a great job going to the offensive glass. He leads the team in that category. He's been working very hard going to the glass. Those shots will drop. He just has to relax. He's rushing his shots, get people up in the air with some ball fakes, but take your time and finish strong. But Rowan Barrett, he's really stepped up, and Steve Nash has had a solid first half as well.
What did Jay Triano say to these guys in the locker room?
Hey, guys, we haven't made our shots. We're playing terrible offensively, and we have the lead. Maintain our defensive effort, maintain our intensity, continue to rebound, force turnovers, and we're going to walk away from here going to the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. A couple of months ago, all the turmoil that was on the national team, the change of coaches with Steve Konchalski, players who didn't want to play, players who said that that's it, they're not going to play for the national team in the future, and all of a sudden, here we are, 20 minutes away from potentially doing something that you didn't and couldn't do a few months ago.
Well, and a lot of people didn't count on it. That's why there's very little coverage. Almost no media members are in Puerto Rico watching this tournament because they figured there's no point in going. And Jay Triano told me last night, he says, that's helped the team bond together. He says, you know what, we're isolated, we're on our own, and he thinks it's been great for the team.
Let's show you some of the highlights from the first half in San Juan in Roberto Clemente Coliseum. If you're just joining us early on, Puerto Rico, Jerome Mincy, the three-pointer. Puerto Rico up 12-6, and then Puerto Ricans looking like they had control of this early on. Steve Swords takes out Eddie Casiano. Casiano left the game, needed some stitches, came back, and really hasn't been a factor so far.
That's a big bonus for the Canadian team not to have Casiano in that game early. How about Rowan Barrett, 11 points in the first half? He really stepped up by looking to take the ball in the basket. Remember, Jay Triano took him out of the game for a little bit early, told him to settle down, and it worked.
Steve Nash has 15 points and 5 rebounds. Barrett has 11 points. There's the field goal percentages. Puerto Rico 44%. Turnovers, Puerto Rico 13-6, and that's pretty much the ballgame.
Exactly. Canada doing the job with defense, only shooting 38%, averaging 49% in the tournament. So they're struggling, and they realize that. But as long as they defend, force the turnovers, they're going to put themselves in a situation to win this game.
We're still trying to link up with the host feed as you take a look at some of the stats provided by the people at Roberto Clemente Coliseum.
Now, Puerto Rico, Rod, you look at their numbers from 3, just 2 of 10. Canada 4 of 13. Puerto Rico normally shoots 43%, so they're also capable of heating it up and getting into this game a little bit more. But Canada with 22-19 lead on the glass, 8 on the offensive end, and they did a real good job the last time they played with 14 offensive rebounds, so that's one of their strengths.
One of the things in international ball, you also tip off to start the second half. Here we go. Canada in white, Puerto Rico in red, 20 minutes away. One team will go to the Olympic Games and the other team will play for the bronze medal. Michael Meeks takes it inside and quickly with the slam.
Excellent job by Michael Meeks to tap the ball to himself, go after it. And you know what, Rod? Again, talking about Jay Triano, he's a very emotional guy. As a player, he was a leader, and his emotion was felt by everybody around him. And you can bet that that locker room was full of emotion when Jay tried to explain, hey, 20 minutes. That's all we have to do is go out and play hard for 20 minutes.
(40-32) Canada. Steve Nash, 15 points for the Canadians. And he goes to the basket, and he also draws a foul. So the biggest lead of the game for Canada. And I'm sure they're thinking about the earlier game against Puerto Rico when they let it slip away.
Rod, one of the things that we talked about with the excitement that this crowd can provide, and as harsh as they can be on opponents, if the tide keeps turning against Puerto Rico, they can also become very harsh on their home team. And that could be a big factor in Canada really coming out strong. Michael Meeks with the jumper.
Three-pointers, so Michael Meeks has 5 straight points and a whistle, an offensive foul, and that's going against Jose Ortiz.
Ortiz using his elbows to try to clear Garachi off his back. And Rod, you know, we talked about the youth of this Canadian team, average age 24 years old. With the Puerto Rican team, despite their experience in a tournament where you've played this many games in such a short period of time, Mincy, Ortiz, there could be fatigue involved.
9-point lead for Canada, biggest of the game.
It's that look that shows great care, feels so good. It's Downy Care. It's that look, who could ask for more? Downy care, the feeling you're
Ultra Downy rinses in comfy softness while it gently helps to protect fibers from fading over time. That's Downy Care.
Feels so good, feels so soft. Ultra Downy does it all. The best way to care is Downy Care. See how Downy does it, come on in.
When I came to this country, I had only $2 in my pocket. But I worked very hard, saved my money, and now things are good. So today I'm giving you $2. $2? I want you to use it to make your family proud.
There you go. Thank you. You're welcome. 20 Timbits, always fresh. The snack pack, $1.99. Only at Tim Hortons.
It's very good.
In specially marked 2.4s of Molson Canadian, you'll find one of 6 collectible EdgeFest CD samplers. Plus, you could win this EdgeFest tour bus. Thanks. Celebrating EdgeFest. Here's where we get Canadian.
Must be 19 or purchase required.
Olympic qualifying basketball, brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. Here's where we get Canadian.
Heart of old San Juan in Puerto Rico. Quiet in the streets today. Everybody's watching their national team against Canada. 43-32 Canada. Michael Meeks with 5 straight points to open up the second half for Team Canada, an 11-point advantage.
And Rod, very important for the Canadian team to try to continue to build this lead and not relax, simply because, again, you're on the road, you're in San Juan, Puerto Rico, you know you're not going to get the calls from the officials down the stretch of the game, so take advantage of every opportunity, and that's what they're doing right now.
And the steal by Sherman Hamilton will set it back up.
A good decision to be patient. Get the ball down court, work it around, try to get some reversals, look for some easy buckets.
Starting 5s back on the floor to start the second half. Rowan Barrett back to Steve Nash. Spots up, takes it, buries the 3.
Big time play by Steve Nash, leading scorer at halftime. And Jay Triano told me he really needs Steve to step up. He's done absolutely everything he's been asked to do, but he needs to have a big game offensively, and so far he's delivered.
Edgar Padilla with a miss, and we didn't see much of that back in 1996 when UMass went to the Final Four. Padilla, Carmelo Travieso, along with Marcus Camby, stars of that team. Puerto Rico needs some stars now.
Well, Padilla's not the guy to be taking three-point shots. I mentioned he's only hit 1 in this tournament. It was against Canada, but he's not the guy to make his shots. Cassiano really has to get it going for Puerto Rico if they're going to get it back in this game.
The Canadian Nats right now playing very good basketball. Nash again!
Oh boy, big time jumper. And you know he's feeling it, Rod. He's looking for that screen. He's trying to create his own shot right now because he's in the zone.
Puerto Rico is rattled in a big way. 49, 34, and 1. Jerome Mincy drawing the foul.
And you can see Jerome Mincy coming back to the huddle saying, hey, come on, guys, settle down. Let's look inside. We're stronger. We're a little bit bigger. We can make plays around the bucket. You can see that great awareness of the weak side help. Mincy getting that ball, protecting it, getting to the other side of the bucket. As I mentioned, a veteran who's been around the international scene for a long, long time.
Jerome Mincy with 8 points. The single free throw is converted. The three-point play converted. Puerto Rico a long way to climb. 14-point game. Late in the first half, Puerto Rico held the lead. An alley-oop pass inside. Garachi almost lost it. Canada gets it back and starts the clock again.
A good decision by Garachi to get the ball out. You don't have to force shots right now. Make Puerto Rico work on defense, and look at that. You spread the court, you get a layup. Barrett couldn't make it, but that's exactly what you have to do right now.
Looks like they're also trying to use up as much clock as they can, Leo.
Oh, absolutely. You want to space Puerto Rico out, really start to stress them out at the defensive end of the court. Hopefully that'll take away from their offensive abilities. But the way to do it is to be patient.
Looked like a bit of a walk from Ortiz down low, but there was a whistle. And it is an offensive foul against number 4 Ortiz.
And that's a frustration foul right there. Missed the shot, getting a little frustrated. Silly foul away from the ball.
Michael Meeks, what a job he has done to open this second half for Canada.
Well, Meeks is one of the players. He's an intelligent player. He'll do the little things on the court. He's capable of shooting that jump shot, as we've seen, as well as rebound and score around the basket.
There's Eddie Casiano, who they have to get going, and Sherman Hamilton whistled for the foul, the reach in. Number 6 is Orlando Santiago, who will operate the floor for Puerto Rico. 49-35, 16 minutes to go in this second half. Canadians upping the defensive intensity. There's the jumper that doesn't go. Nash with the rebound. Steve Nash hustling, bringing it down, losing the ball, getting it back.
Steve Nash is a player that plays with a lot of heart. He's averaging 4 rebounds a game in this tournament.
Nash shooting again. Yes!
Oh boy. Nash, nice job taking that ball off the dribble. And when you get a player like Steve Nash, he starts feeling his jump shot. And the thing about Steve Nash, Rod, is he can create his own shots off the dribble. He doesn't need somebody to help him out. He can break the defense down, and he has that mid-range game. He can dribble in, stop on a dime, and elevate and take the shot.
Timeout on the floor, 51-35. Canada on a roll in San Juan.
When you're active, the last thing you want is the uncomfortable itch of dandruff. Introducing new Head & Shoulders Refresh. It helps prevent dandruff from coming back, and its mint formula feels cool and refreshing on the scalp. With new Head & Shoulders Refresh, you may never see flakes again. Head & Shoulders Refresh from the Head & Shoulders family. A refreshing way to help control dandruff.
Meet Chris Worth, animator. Knows good, knows evil. Knows that having a formidable partner is definitely good. Chevy S10, like a rock.
I believe I've become quite valuable to the company, sir. And this may not be the right time, but I think I deserve a raise. I'll wait here.
Need a new t-shirt? Find one of 4 free, especially Mark II 4s of Coors Light. Must be legal drinking age. Call for no purchase request.
12 teams will qualify for next summer's Olympic Games. Here who is in already. The United States earlier today. Australia, the host team. Luke Longley gets a chance to play for his country at the Olympic Games. Other qualifiers going on, the Oceanic and the Pacific Rim. And a lot of people think, Leo, you know, the Americas should get more than 2 teams.
Well, when you look at the teams that are in the Americas group, you have Argentina, we're seeing Puerto Rico here. You have some very good teams. Brazil, that gave the United States a pretty good battle. A lot of people feel that maybe they should get a couple more teams into the Olympics.
Peter Garaci knocked the ball out of the basket, so Puerto Rico credited with the hoop. Steve Nash making that free throw to make it 52-35. It's now 52-37. Still a 15-point game with 15 minutes to go. Nash playing a brilliant ball game today, but loses it this time. Puerto Rico with the easy lay-in at the other end. That's Carmelo Travieso, but lost it.
And good job by the Canadian team to get back. Not a well-advised pass by Steve Nash going cross-court, but you could see everybody get back. 3 white jerseys made it back, and even though there was a foul, they were able to get back. And Michael Meeks again having some trouble with that contact lens.
Well, that contact lens had no problem on the three-pointer and the slam dunk he had earlier, so he's seeing it from long distance and from short range.
And also remember that contact lens had good timing in slowing Puerto Rico down in terms of their rhythm. And once again, he's going to slow the game down.
Steve Nash said that he had a good feeling about this game. He said, I just think we're going to win. He also said that even though Puerto Rico beat them earlier in the week, It will be hard for them to beat us twice. According to Nash, is Orlando Vega converts one of his free throws.
And it's such a big factor when your leader, Steve Nash, has that kind of confidence with a very young group of players. Jay Triano told me that the other night they had a day off. All 12 players hung out together in a hotel room. Nobody went out. Nobody went their separate ways. They all hung out together and just wanted to spend time with one another. And that's the unity on this team that could help them get by Puerto Rico today.
The lead is 13, trying to hang out now with the lead. Hamilton off balance. That wasn't a smart pass. Once again, Vega going to the basket, but Rowan Barrett with the hat.
See, this is where you have to be careful right now. You listen to the crowd. It's a little bit more emotional. You don't want to get them back into this game. Sherman Hamilton forcing the drive, going to the bucket. Take your time, make that extra pass. And now the coach of Puerto Rico, Julio Toro, trying to get the fans up and off their seats.
Well, they love basketball in Puerto Rico. Remember Butch Lee?
Oh, yeah. Marquette won a national championship playing for Al McGuire. Butch Lee used to have some of the most incredible games playing against the United States teams when he was playing in his day with Puerto Rico.
So that hard foul, intentional foul against Rowan Barrett. Vega makes one, misses one. Canada trying to hold off Puerto Rico. 12-point game.
Rod, remember, I talked about it just a few minutes ago. You know, in the stretch of this game in Puerto Rico, you're not going to get a lot of calls. That's why you need as big a cushion as you can have going into the final few minutes, because the crowd and the referees will be a factor.
Look out for Vega, number 11, when he gets the ball. That's inside, an easy lay-in. So a defensive breakdown by Canada. Puerto Rico capitalizes, and the lead has been narrowed to 10.
Excellent penetration. Once you let somebody into the middle, a lot of things can happen for the offense. It's very important to force everything away from the inside.
Meeks inside. Karachi to the basket. Won't go. Knocked away. Canada ball, and Puerto Rico ferocious on the ball now, trapping Steve Nash at every opportunity.
And nice job by Jose Ortiz to change Karachi's shot. Looked like he had a sure two. But Ortiz was right there to force him to double clutch.
Look at that free throw
situation. Exactly.
Both teams rather ugly from the line so far. Nash.
But the attempts, Rod, you look at the attempts. Puerto Rico with 18, Canada only with 8.
Rowan Barrett with a big jumper. The miss from Puerto Rico at the other end, and we have a jump ball. And Karachi not too happy with Jerome Mincy. And the crowd not too happy with Karachi.
Karachi saying, hey, I was elbowed, took a shot right in the head, but no calls from the officials.
Jay Triano also works for the Vancouver Grizzlies as the radio broadcast. Star at Simon Fraser University, an Olympian.
Manager of the community relations as well for the Vancouver Grizzlies.
3-point shots, there's a factor. 21 points off the threes for Canada. Only 6 for Puerto Rico. You know Steve Nash will be a factor down this game. Karachi, as they reverse the ball. Nash controlling it to Hamilton, three-pointer. Karachi taps it back, avoiding the over and back call.
Excellent hustle by the Canadian team. Sherman Hamilton has had some good looks. He's struggled from the perimeter in this game, but as well as he's been shooting in this tournament, you figure he has to catch fire sooner or later.
Nash, the ball hawk. Hamilton again, back to Steve Nash. If there was a time of possession, Steve Nash would certainly own it this game.
Steve Nash is a very, very intelligent basketball player, and he's such a hard worker. And again, when you can break people down, create your own shots, as well as you can shoot off the screen, you are a very, very dangerous player and very difficult to defend.
Only 8 on the shot clock, the 30-second shot clock in international basketball, stolen by Puerto Rico. Mincy lays it in.
Yeah, not a good pass by Michael Meeks. You can see he got a little too casual on that play. Puerto Rico's not going to go down without a fight, Rod. You have to really be careful and maximize every possession.
11-point game. Puerto Rico came back against Canada earlier in the week in round robin play. Not a lead like this, mind you, but you can see they're used to playing some great defense.
Excellent
There's the
pass.
basket by Michael Meeks again.
An excellent job. Steve Nash getting the penetration, drawing the defense, and Michael Meeks, hands up, eyes on the ball, realizing that Steve Nash will find you if you're open.
Mincy can't make it go. Barrett bringing it down again into the hands of Nash. Wide open is Hamilton. Back to Garachi, the lay-in.
That's good basketball right there. Hamilton running the court, and Garachi as the trailer coming down on the break right in the middle. Hamilton finding him. You can see Puerto Rico looks tired to me right now, Rod.
59-44, the lead back to 15. Still loads of time left in this game. Puerto Rico may be running out of gas.
And that's an example when you're short and not even catching iron on your jump shots. That's usually a pretty good indication that the legs are starting to go, Rod.
Rowan Barrett picking up the foul. Rowan Barrett recently got married a couple of weeks ago at the national training camp. He had a practice in the morning on a Sunday morning. He got married in the afternoon with his teammates standing by. And then he went back to practice the next day. Practice so far is good for Canada. 15-point advantage in Puerto Rico.
Meet the inspiration behind the truck. We thought of them when we gave it a more powerful V8 than any top-selling Ford or Dodge pickup. We thought of them when we gave it a bigger extended cab than Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram. Maybe that's why Motor Trend thought of us. The new Chevy Silverado. It's the truck. The Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
It may not be the way it was, but it's the way it is. Isn't there anything just for men anymore? Old Spice high endurance deodorant with some of the strongest odor fighting ingredients known to man. Made strong, made for a man.
We don't all run half marathons. We don't all drink distilled water, but we all love bread. Dempster's Hearty Grain 100% whole wheat bread. Low in fat, no preservatives, and high in fiber with 8 essential nutrients. And now, try Dempster's Premium Bagels in 7 delicious low-fat varieties. They're at your grocery store, just a short jog away. Dempster's, deliciously sensible.
The Canadian team rolling in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Steve Nash leading the way, catching it, knocking in the three-point shot, and again from behind the arc, Steve Nash draining the jump shot. Looking to create, able to break the defense down on the dribble. His third three-point shot in the second half. And you can see he just feels good about his game right now, and everybody is feeding off of his energy.
Canada right now 10 minutes away from a trip to the Olympics if they can hang on to this lead, and Sherman Hamilton knocks it down.
And that's what I was talking about, Rod. He's been shooting the ball too well not to eventually find his shot. And the nice thing about Sherman Hamilton, what he's been doing, he's been taking pretty good shots. His form has been good. You just have to have the confidence and believe it's going to drop. Just keep shooting.
The Dookie, Greg Newton, is back on the floor. You would have thought, judging by what we saw early in this game and earlier in the week, that this would have been a much closer game at this juncture. Canada a basket away from going up by 20.
Well, I think the real keys in this game are, one, defense. Canada's done a great job. And the second thing is they've controlled tempo. They've really done a good job of spreading Puerto Rico out, making them work. And now Puerto Rico, an older team, has to chase. Now, when you're chasing a Steve Nash who can find the open man with ease on the court, you're going to leave open players, open shooters, and if a Sherman Hamilton starts hitting his jump shot, it's lights out.
Steve Nash doing a number on the Puerto Rican, 62-45. Ball is lost, but Canada will retain possession.
Rod, maybe the most important factor in this game is what we talked about throughout, is the fact that the crowd was basically taken out of the game early on and have not been a factor whatsoever.
Greg Newton off to Nash. Newton can't get the ball back. A leaner by Rowan Barrett goes.
And now you see, now you're feeling good. Now you're starting to get the bounce. Rowan Barrett almost threw the ball away, got it back, put it up there softly, and was able to get the kind bounce off the iron.
64-45. The lead is 19. Ortiz has been practically nullified in the second half. And so have those hot hands of the Puerto Rican shooters. They have come away empty. There's a foul. Casiano will go to the line. Barrett with another foul.
Rowan Barrett had pretty good position right there. Just at the last minute, he leaned forward with his hands. You have to try to stay vertical, keep your hands up straight, and not lean into the shooter. But maybe one of the other factors in this game, Casiano got hurt early in the game. Swords knocked him down on the transition basket. He left the game for a period of time, had to get stitches, and he has not even been involved in this game whatsoever.
That was another Ortiz, Fernando Ortiz, one of the young up-and-coming players, youngest player, as a matter of fact, on the Puerto Ricans. Getting some time for Julio Toro. Puerto Rico has a long way to go in this game to get back.
3 points only for Casiano, averaging just under 15 in the tournament.
Casiano watching Nash. Not only is Steve Nash an outstanding shooter, he is a terrific ball handler and a great passer. To avoid trouble, Newton. They'll work the clock down. Swords. Hamilton. Crossover there to the corner. Meeks again. Not again. Knocked out of bounds. Puerto Rico ball.
Crowd looking for a foul. Newton going over the back, but no call. Good effort. One thing Greg Newton will always give you is hustle. Mentioned the fact that the World Championships last year averaged about 10 rebounds a game, finished in the top 5, and really was a bright spot in the tournament. Seemed to come into his own on a team that really struggled.
Ortiz threw it to one of his teammates, or threw it to a Canadian player, at least on the bench. There was no one there.
And Ortiz looking at his teammates saying, hey, you got to find the spots, but really that's his fault. And again, now I'm going to start talking about this more and more, is fatigue. When you start throwing the ball away, you anticipate people being at certain spots without even looking. I think fatigue is really starting to wear certain players down.
Canada looking as fresh as this ball game started. Nash has played a lot.
Well, Steve Nash is the type of player that can play heavy minutes, Rod, because he takes great care of himself. He's always in great shape, works real hard, so it's not this with some other players. And Jay Triano told me that if you look at the minutes with the front line of players, they've all averaged about 19 minutes a game, so they've conserved their legs throughout this tournament.
The crowd not happy with the non-call. Nash to Hamilton for three. Comes Puerto Rico again.
Well, I tell you what, if Sherman Hamilton is even anywhere close to about 45% where he's been shooting in this tournament, Puerto Rico would be way back.
Travieso with the leaner off the glass. 64-49. They've whittled it back to 15. Nash doesn't want to see it get any closer. What a ball player. Meeks inside, and a whistle and a foul.
You see what's happening, Rod. They're double teaming Steve Nash. They have to give help on the ball. They're sending an extra player over, and Steve Nash is smart enough to find the open man, and you're going to have mismatches or buckets on open, or opportunities to score buckets under the basket.
Eddie Casiano will have to hit three-pointers like he has never hit them in his life in order for his team and his coach try to find a way to rally.
If you look at their shots in the second half, they haven't had a lot of very wide open three-point opportunities, and give credit to the defense of the Canadian team. They've really done a really good job of getting out on all the shooters.
Jordy McTavish sending it back to Newton. Swords. Hamilton. Steve Nash getting a rest now, saving him for the last few minutes.
Another friendly bounce for the Canadian team.
Edgar Padilla knocking it out of bounds. Almost as surprising as Canada's path to get to this game is the score. Who would have thought?
5-second violation. Canadian team not getting the ball in time.
Puerto Rico needing a run. Off the glass and counted. Maybe this is the start of one. Edgar Padilla.
Excellent job penetrating right there. If your shots aren't falling, you have to find other ways to score. Padilla has the ability to create off the dribble, get to the basket. They're showing good balance and using the backboard, getting that ball up high in the glass, so when Michael Meeks comes over, he doesn't have an opportunity to make the block.
If the lead gets into single digits, I'm sure, or if this gets out of hand quickly for Puerto Rico, you'll see Steve Nash enter almost immediately. Puerto Rico had it back after the miss. Canada with a 13-point lead. 8 minutes to go. Swords. McTavish. Newton.
Canada content to use a lot of clock right now. Good pressure there to double team on the ball.
The young McTavish giving that one away. Three-pointer could put it to 10. Ortiz finds it.
We haven't seen that since early in the game. Ortiz going strong, putting his shoulder right into Newton, not giving him an opportunity to go up straight and challenge a shot. Anytime you take the angle away from the defender, they will not be able to jump and challenge.
The lead is 11, and Steve Nash will come into the game. Padilla whistle for the foul.
Jay Trano trying to give Steve Nash just a little bit of a breather, and again, that's all Steve needs.
Nash and the Nationals. Can they make it to the Olympics? Looking good so far.
When I came to this country, I had only $2 in my pocket. But I worked very hard, saved my money, and now things are good. So today I'm giving you $2. $2? I want you to use it to make your family proud.
There you go. Thank you. You're welcome. 20 Timbits, always fresh. The snack pack, $1.99. Only at Tim Hortons.
It's very good.
In '79, they worked on my brakes.
Brakes.
And in '85,
Brakes.
Sometimes my car makes squeaky noises, especially brakes.
Brakes are the most important part of my car.
Brakes.
Come in now for the Midas half-price brake tune-up. Including services manufacturers recommend every 2 years, it's a great way to help ensure your car's safety. All for just $39.95.
Quite a substantial savings.
Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Every single Optimum used vehicle is backed by General Motors. But used vehicles sold by some stranger on the corner don't come with any guarantees, which may just leave you with more than you bargained for. When you buy Optimum, you can rest easy knowing you've got GM riding with you. Optimum used vehicles, available only at select GM dealers.
Sports Central with Jeff Hutchinson following the game. The baseball highlights, golf scores, all the rest, and a wrap-up from the Tournament of Americas in San Juan, Puerto Rico. That's after the ball game. Canada came into the Tournament of Americas after being shut out the last couple of tries at the Olympic Games. Not making it to the Olympics. Canada hasn't been to the Games since 1988 in Seoul. Steve Nash, 24 points so far. Rowan Barrett is off. He had 16 points to that shot. Puerto Rico needs to make a big comeback. Canada will be going back to the Games. Ortiz battling underneath with Karachi.
And not a good shot right there. That shot didn't look good at all. Now again, for Canada, continue to do what got you the lead. Get good spacing. Try to get easy shots like that one by Rowan Barrett. You can see with the court spread out, Rowan Barrett needing just a dribble to the baseline to knock in that shot. And that's 18 points for the former St. John's Red Storm star.
Oh, red and white storm in Puerto Rico. Almost Frighteningly silent for the Puerto Rican team, and that will get the crowd going. And a whistle.
It's an offensive foul there, Rod. Good job by the defense. And Orlando Vega can't believe the call.
It has not gone Julio Toro's way in the second half. Jerome Mincy comes back into the game. Orlando Vega whistled for the foul, so no basket.
Rod, you know, one of the things that Jay Triano told me last night, that, you know, this is a team that's trying to rebuild, trying to get back on track. A great play by Peter Garacci right there, doing the dirty work, getting that charge, great position on Vega. But with the attempt to rebuild, that's going to be the Canadian team's basketball. That they were able to beat Cuba, Argentina, Brazil. All the teams traditionally have been ahead of Canada. And Jay said that's been a tremendous boost to the young players in this team to say that, you know, we're going in the right direction right now. This team is heading in the right direction. We just have to maintain it. And to think, Rod, that if the Canadian team really, there are other players out there.
Rick
Billy
Fox.
Wennington, a Rick Fox, that as well as this team is playing.
Jamal McGlure.
Exactly. But one of the other points that Jay Triano made to me, and I think is extremely important, he said this is not the 12 most talented players in Canada. This is a team that plays together and is led by that man right there, Steve Nash, with 26 points now.
The most talented player in Canada. Canada's best NBA player. And another whistle. Jerome Mincy coming off the bench for Toro.
Rod, you know what this game reminds me of? A lot of Steve Nash fans that remember watching him play at Santa Clara. They played a team called Maryland in the NCAA tournament, similar red jerseys, and nobody expected Santa Clara to even have a chance to play against the Terrapins from Maryland. And they picked up the lead early. They made their shots, and Steve Nash spread the court out and put on a passing and layup clinic throughout the rest of the game to knock Maryland out of the NCAA tournament. Maybe seeing red has inspired Steve Nash.
Mincy making the free throw. Well, Steve Nash, if Canada can hang on, win the semifinal, they not only get an Olympic berth, but a consolation prize. Maybe they play Team USA for the gold medal tomorrow. Assured of a silver medal. But Steve Nash will be matched up against his old buddy Jason Kidd. 68-57, still 5.5 minutes to go, an 11-point game. Can't think about tomorrow right now. Nash again. Pass off balance and a whistle. And another foul against Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it looked like Nash was being grabbed as he was trying to get into the lane to attempt to make that pass, getting the call. As Meeks caught the ball, was fouled.
Biggest point in this game may have been as they came out of the locker room. Michael Meeks hitting those 5 straight points, the slam dunk, and then the 3-pointer.
I agree with you, Rod. The most important part of a basketball game often can be the first 5 minutes of the second half. How you come out dictates how the rest of the game will go. And the Canadian team came out extremely inspired, and Michael Meeks immediately getting the layup in that 3-pointer really set the tone for the second half.
Puerto Rico needs some fast baskets, but they're not going to get it that way. Ortiz complaining again. Meeks knocked away. Canada ball.
What I like about that play right there, Rod, great defense at one end. Puerto Rico trying to force an entry pass that just wasn't there. Meeks breaking out, and it looked to me like he was fouled, but didn't even look for a call. He knows you got to just keep playing. Right there, you see there definitely was some contact on the play. But Meeks understands you're not going to get those calls right now.
We could hear that slap all the way from San Juan. Nash, Garacci is blocked. Nash has it on the baseline, sends it back to Meeks, and he's blocked.
Back-to-back blocks by Jose Ortiz, and he's giving the Dikembe Mutombo not in my house finger right now, and I don't know if that's a good idea. Well, at this point in the game.
Doing that in his house when the house is losing.
Well, what spurred him on to pass the finger along to Michael Meeks. Meeks put the elbow in Ortiz's chest after he blocked the shot, and Ortiz didn't appreciate it too much. So he let him know, hey, don't come back in here.
This could get rougher down the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Stolen away. And it is Canada basketball.
As we've said, Puerto Rico will not go down without a fight. They're quick players, they're athletic players. Even though they do seem tired, they're still going to scrape and claw till this game is over.
Travieso knocking it out of bounds. Canada will try to again run down this clock.
One of the players we haven't seen much in the second half, or at all for that matter, is Todd McCullough from Washington. Struggled in the first half, and with Puerto Rico chasing, tough shot there. Not able to go down for Steve Nash. With Puerto Rico chasing in the second half, that's not a good style of play for a 7-footer to be involved in.
Orlando Vega's three-pointer is missed. Puerto Rico gets it back. Vega inside this time. Back out, three-pointer by Mincy, yes!
Puerto Rico scrapping after the basketball, a couple of loose balls, never giving up on the play. And as poorly as they shot in this game, they can heat it up in a hurry.
Might be a good time to take a timeout for Canada. The lead is 9, down to single digits. Nash putting on a dribbling exhibition today. Hamilton and a whistle, and it's a foul against Puerto Rico.
And Puerto Rico really attacking the basketball.
Orlando Santiago. And there is a timeout. Well, a lead that was near 20 has melted down to 9. Late in the game in San Juan. Canada try to hang on.
Especially Mark II 4s of Molson Canadian. You'll find one of 6 collectible Edgefest CD samplers. Plus, you could win this Edgefest tour bus. Thanks. Celebrating Edgefest. Here's where we get Canadian.
Must be 19, no purchase required.
In 79, they worked on my brakes.
Brakes.
And in 85,
Brakes.
Sometimes my car makes squeaky noises, especially the brakes.
Brakes are the most important part of my car.
Brakes.
Come in now for the Midas half-price brake tune-up. Including services manufacturers recommend every 2 years, it's a great way to help ensure your car's safety. All for just $39.95.
Quite a substantial savings.
Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned and have indulged 3 times.
How long since your last confession?
Yesterday.
I see. And where did you meet this man?
It's not a man. No. It's...
NutraWhip. A whipped topping with 60% less fat than real whipped cream. And it tastes so seductive, you'll surrender to your cravings.
Gold medal match.
Get a look at that block by Jose Ortiz on Garachi, and then coming right back and getting Michael Meeks. But this was the big shot right here. Jerome Mincy, 34-year-old veteran, knocking in that three-pointer to bring the Puerto Rican team within 9.
So back at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. First free throw is made by Sherman Hamilton. 7 points.
Having Steve Nash on the court has made Sherman Hamilton a better player, Rod. He struggled in the World Championships last year when there's too much responsibility with him dribbling the basketball and controlling the team. It takes away from some of his game. Another 3 by Puerto Rico, Travieso.
That's why they called him Travieso at UMass. 71-63, Nash. Bad pass there. Here comes Puerto Rico again.
Yeah, you want to try to stay on your feet. Once you commit in the air, you can't do anything about the defense making adjustments.
That one almost went in. Puerto Rico still has the ball and a loose ball foul. This time against Puerto Rico, against Orlando Santiago.
Lucky break there for the Canadian team. Loose ball foul. And again, this is where you have to be very careful. We saw Steve Nash penetrate. Once you leave your feet, you're committed. And then if the defense shifts or adjusts, or the offensive player you're looking to pass the ball to shifts, you're in trouble.
You have to wonder, we talked about fatigue for Puerto Rico, if that team keeps coming back against Canada in the late going in this game as we get closer to it. Steve Nash has been handling the ball a lot, and you wonder how much gas he has left.
Yeah, he's the one player I'm concerned about as far as fatigue goes, because he's had the ball in his hands just so much in this game. But again, you have to figure if Puerto Rico's been chasing throughout this entire game, they're likely to be the first team to wear out.
Under 3 minutes, 10-point game. Ortiz again. Got it! And he'll go to the line to try to make it a 7-point game.
Looks like they may have called Steve Nash for the foul, trying to slap at the ball down low. Strong move by Ortiz. Whenever he gets the ball that deep in the post, you see right here, he just turns, put the shoulder in. Actually, it's Garachi getting the call. Steve Nash was just arguing Garachi's case. It did, from this angle we just saw, Rod, didn't look like it was much of a foul, but when you lean in as the offensive player and initiate contact, oftentimes you do get the break.
Suddenly very nervous for Team Canada. 73-66. Nash trapped again. Hamilton. 15-footer goes.
See, and that's what has to happen. Hamilton stepping up, helping out Steve Nash in a double team, and he has the ability to break the defense down in the open court. He has to look to be more aggressive and help out his backcourt partner.
Well, Nash is going to see some pressure, so maybe it will be Hamilton to relieve it. Mincy again? No.
Nice job, Rowan Barrett. Very important for everybody in this situation to stay in, rebound. You can't have the ball and you can't get out in transition until you get the ball off the glass. Everybody, including the guards, have to rebound.
2 minutes from a trip to Sydney, but stolen by Puerto Rico. Travieso. That one's off. Garachi with the rebound gives it off to Nash.
Puerto Rico has certainly had plenty of opportunities from three, just not able to score. And good pass. Michael Meeks going cross court to Hamilton, and he'll get a couple of shots.
Free throws could be crucial down the stretch, and Canada had opened up such a big lead, looked like it might be a rout. Puerto Rico coming a little closer.
You get the finish of the play. Nice pass from Meeks, and Sherman Hamilton doing a nice job of protecting that ball, getting that left elbow out just enough not to get an offensive foul, but to keep Mincy from getting to the basketball without making contact.
Sherman Hamilton with a big jump shot moments ago, and now a key free throw.
Now you saw him a little uncomfortable on that last play where he lost the basketball, but again, he has to step up and help out Steve Nash, because they're going to do everything they can, Puerto Rico that is, to get the ball out of Steve Nash's hands and force somebody else to win the game.
140. 77-66. Three-pointer, no. Hamilton rebound. Lost his balance, still has it, tiptoeing the line. Meeks has it.
Getting inbounds again, Rod. Avoided falling out of bounds, and they was able to get right back in with a little hop to save the ball.
Michael Meeks is fouled. Julio Toro trying to get his three-point specialist back on the floor, Eddie Casiano. Jay Triano, who would have thought that this Canadian team, all of the heartbreak over the years, trying to qualify to get back to the Olympic Games. You were part of the '92 team that lost to Portland.
Absolutely, and that's a memory that you don't want to hang on to. A lot of bitterness associated with that, a lot of factors involved in that. But what Jay Triano has done here has been exceptional. Again, he's felt like they've been out on an island all by themselves, and everybody's forgotten about them, and that's banded the team together. And again, all the strengths of Jay Triano as a basketball player, I feel, have really come out in his leadership of this team. What a tremendous job he's done.
1:20 to go. 78-66. There's a three. Canadians trying to be careful. Hamilton dribbling out of pressure. They send him to the line. 1:12 to go.
All you have to do right now is protect the basketball and realize when you get by a defender, push that ball out in front of you, because Puerto Rico will be reaching from behind, trying to knock that ball loose. You cannot get casual with the dribble.
Well, for a team that went to the Worlds a year ago and finished 12th, and a disappointing 12th in Greece, there was so much talk about restructuring and rebuilding, and a lot of people felt that Sydney, Australia was absolutely out of the question. There was no chance unless you had Rick Fox, unless you had Bill Wennington. Well, you have Steve Nash, and you have a bunch of young players who have come to Puerto Rico, determined to get Canada back to the games.
Well, Rod, there are plenty of young players in Canada that can help, contribute, and win basketball games. There's a lot of good athletes and players with plenty of college experience to step up. But the one variable between last year and this year, which we talked about, is Steve Nash. A point guard that can control, lead, score is an invaluable asset, and he has been the difference.
And just think, the Dallas Mavericks almost didn't let him play for the national team. He was fighting some injury, and finally Don Nelson said, okay, you have our blessing. And Canada can thank that decision, because it looks like the Canadian national team will be part of the Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia. First time since Seoul, Korea. 92 a no-go, 96 a no-go, and it looks like Puerto Rico will be a no-go.
And what a tremendous accomplishment against so much adversity over this last year, as we've already talked about. And the most important factor in my conversation with Jay Triano last night by phone from Puerto Rico, the one thing he said, he was very clear to say this immediately, was that we do not have the 12 best in Canada. And that's so important. People always think you have to get the best players all the time. No, you have to have the players that can fit and play well together and have chemistry, and that's what this team has.
Indeed, 81-69 turnaround. Ortiz again with the bank shot, but not enough Ortiz for the Puerto Ricans today.
Yeah, Ortiz has been solid throughout this game at both ends of the court. Unfortunately for Puerto Rico, the three-point shots, Castellano was a non-factor. Travieso really never got it going, and as a result, without that perimeter game for Puerto Rico, which is such a big part of their offense, they're just not able to handle the Canadian team.
I remember having a conversation about a month and a half ago with Steve Nash. He was still hurting a little bit. He was in Vancouver after the season, and he was trying to get himself back in shape and get himself healthy again. And the one thing he said to me, he said, I want to play for Canada. I want to play for my national team. Some of these players will now go to Winnipeg and play on the Pan Am Games team.
You know, Rod, why wouldn't you want to represent your country? There's so many players that have to look at this right now and say it's an honor. You should want to step up. You should want to represent your country. And I had an opportunity last summer to talk to about 60 young basketball players, some of the top basketball players across Canada at a Nike exposure camp. And I asked, how many of you want to represent your country and play for Canada? One player put up his hand. You know what, Ron? There's going to be a lot more putting up their hand right now.
There'll be 1,000. After 11 years away from the Summer Olympics, Canada's going back to the games. Against the odds, Jay Triano, Steve Nash, and this very young national team will take the Maple Leafs